family, in particular the father of Anwar al-Awlaki, arguing that the United States has no right to target with an assassination the radical U.S.-born cleric. Now, the government is saying he represents an imminent danger to the United States. So will information potentially linking Al-Awlaki to last week's package bomb threat bolster its case? Joining me now, former federal prosecutor, Fox News legal analyst Lise Wheel, and former prosecutor and professor of media law at Seton Hall University, Paul Callan. All right, Professor, the father files the lawsuit saying you can't kill my son. Since when does he have what the law requires and calls locus standi to even bring the case?
Well, this idea of standing, of course, is the concept that somebody has to have the right to bring a case. And if Al-Awlaki wants to bring the case, why doesn't he march into a courtroom and bring it himself?
His father's not harmed.
That's not going to be happening,
That's what the Justice Department is saying. But, of course, he's saying he can't go into a courtroom because they'll probably send a predator drone and blow up the courtroom. So they might have a point.
Standing?
Standing, I think he does have standing because he is the father, he is a next of kin, and you can't just say because the guy can't actually make it in the courtroom that the father doesn't have standing. He has something to lose, Greg. His son.
You know what?
Standing.
Judge is going to throw it out based on standing. But
I don't think so.
Let's get to the merits of this thing. All right, this is a guy who incited and may have helped plot and may have helped trained not just the Times Square bombing, but the underwear bombing. Those alone could have killed a load of people. But now, most recently, Paul, the mail bomb plots out of Yemen. Is that enough to bolster the government's case to have this thing tossed
Well,
out?
it's certainly, you just resist it, Lisa.
I know,
You've got to resist it, okay?
I'm trying to hold back.
If they can prove those things, yes, it certainly is enough reason to target him and to assassinate him under existing legal guidelines. But the problem is, how do we know what the evidence is since we're not in a courtroom?
We aren't the ones that are supposed to know. Within the executive order, the executive branch has the ability to make that assassination claim, whether on an American citizen or not, if they have evidence, and they don't have to show us what that evidence is.
The interesting thing about this whole concept is that traditionally when we're at war, of course you can go on a battlefield and kill your enemy. But this war that we're in now encompasses pretty much the entire world. So can U.S. forces hunt down an American citizen any place in the world and kill him without a court order?
President Bush said that they could.
Does it really matter that he's an American citizen or not?
No.
He is an enemy combatant.
It doesn't matter.
Who is traitorous, to be sure.
By an executive order, not of Obama, but of Bush before him.
Paul?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Reagan actually issued an executive order prohibiting this kind of assassination.
And Bush did
Abraham
not.
Lincoln was also opposed to it. There was always a fear that if we started targeting individuals and killing them, what's to stop somebody from Russia from targeting Obama and killing him? It's pretty dangerous stuff.
But if the law is in the land if that's what the law is, then how can you go against that?
The other thing, Lise, that I find to be the other thing that I find to be very interesting is that even the Supreme Court, in a decision written by Scalia, said that at Guantanamo, if you're imprisoning an American citizen, you've got to hold a hearing on whether there's valid ground to do that. So, Lisa, you're saying you can just kill him?
No. But if the President of the United States has enough evidence that doesn't go through a courtroom, because it can't go through a courtroom, because that will be all public, then yes, he has the right to sign
the prevailing law, Paul, says that if there is imminent harm to American citizens, the government does have the right to engage in these assassinations. As I read the ACLU's argument, they concede imminent harm.
They concede the point that that's what the law says. And, you know, their case just got blown up by this mail bombing thing, because this case was an interesting case from a legal standpoint before. What did they have on this guy specifically? Now they've come in, the government is saying he participated in that plot and other plots, so it is almost a hot pursuit situation.
So, in other words, I guess we would agree that he has standing, the father does, to bring
No, we're not agreeing.
I don't know about
we're not agreeing to standing.
I agree on this. I think he has. But
there's
then
enough
at that
evidence
point,
to hunt him down now, and I think under U.S. law it would be justified.
An executive order would be justified.
However, what about a situation where you just have one of these crazy guys giving sermons in other countries? Can we hunt them down and kill them?
No, that's why the executive order has to be something that they've got with outside the court. They've got enough evidence to say within a courtroom we would.
Well, which means we have to trust the president as commander-in-chief to do the right thing.
Is the federal judge going to hold an in-camera hearing here so that this confidential information of state secrets doesn't?
I think he'll have to do an in-camera hearing, because what is he going to do? Release American intelligence sources?
Yeah, let me just say, in-camera is a private hearing so that nobody finds out.
That far. If he buys your argument that there's no standing, he doesn't even get that far.
Right.
And the courts may just want to punt on this also. I mean, this is...
That would be not buying the standing argument.
We're getting involved in managing war and deciding who to assassinate and not. I don't know that federal judges want to be making that decision.
Yeah,
we leave that to the commander-in-chief.
Paul Callan, Lee Sweal. Interesting. We'll see what happens tomorrow.